Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Senior Airman Janelle Garcia, your narrator for today's event. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Change of Command ceremony for the 627th Force Support Squadron. On behalf of the Commander of 627 Air Base Group, Colonel Patrick O'Sullivan, we would like to thank you for attending today's Change of Command ceremony, where Lieutenant Colonel Karen Mock will relinquish command of the 627th Force Support Squadron to Major Brianna Rodriguez. As a reminder, military and civilian personnel should render appropriate honors during the singing of the national anthem. Civilians should hold their hand over their heart, and military members are to stand at attention during the singing of the national anthem and the posting of the colors. Thank you. The Change of Command ceremony has a rich military history dating back to the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia during the 18th century. At that time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each unit. To this flag and its commander, the soldiers of the unit would dedicate their loyalty and trust. When a change of command was to take place, the flag was passed to the individual assuming command in front of the unit so all could witness the new leader assuming their official position. The colors are the commander's symbol of authority, representing their responsibilities to the organization and reside wherever the commander resides. Master Sergeant Matthew Thomas serves as the custodian of the colors and as the enlisted airman's spokesman to the commander. When the ceremony begins, Master Sergeant Thomas will present the colors to Colonel O'Sullivan. Colonel O'Sullivan will then present the colors and all they represent to the new commander, Major Rodriguez, who assumes the responsibility of command from Lieutenant Colonel Mock. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party, the presentation of the colors, the playing of the national anthem, and the invocation by Chaplain Timothy Dahl.
Set colors.
Stand by. Color. Head, hut. Port, arc. Color. Halt. Present. Arc.
Chaplain Dahl will now offer the invocation.
If it is within your tradition, would you please pray with me at this time? Gracious King of Kings and Lord of Hosts, we come before you today on the occasion of the 627th Force Support Squadron's change of command. As the guide-on passes between Lieutenant Colonel Karen Mock and Major Brianna Rodriguez, we are thankful. We are thankful of great leadership that in turn enables an even greater squadron. The FSS is a unique squadron due to the multiplicity of specialized jobs that find anchor in its expansive harbor. This requires a commander to have a deep and broad knowledge base, contagious enthusiasm for the mission, inner strength and grit, and sincere care for the airmen. Lieutenant Colonel Mock has shown this and so much more during her tenure as our commander. Thank you for Lieutenant Colonel Mock, and bless her as she heads off on her next adventure. It is abundantly clear that Major Rodriguez has these same attributes in spades. We only ask that you would multiply these outstanding characteristics so that our squadron can climb to even greater heights of success. Deepen and expand her knowledge. Grow her love for our airmen. Strengthen her spirit for what's to come. Give her an even greater enthusiasm for the mission and our squadron. And finally, spark the fire within us as we follow her leadership into the sunrise of a new tomorrow. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Dahl. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the official party for today's ceremony. The presiding officer for today's ceremony, the commander, 627th Air Base Group, Colonel Patrick O'Sullivan, accompanied by his wife, Ms. Beth O'Sullivan. The outgoing commander, 627th Force Support Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Karen Mock, accompanied by her children, Jason and Ashley, her sister, Natalie Edwards, and her nieces, Sydney Bird and Mackenzie Jackson. The incoming commander, 627th Force Support Squadron, Major Brianna Rodriguez, accompanied by her husband, Jose, and children, Emmanuel and Amaya. I would now like to introduce some of our distinguished guests and special visitors from Joint Base Lewis McChord and the surrounding area with us for today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all guests have been introduced. Colonel Sky Duncan, Commander, Joint Base Lewis McChord. Colonel Philip Lamb, Incoming Commander, Joint Base Lewis McChord. Command Sergeant Major Waylon Petty, Command Sergeant Major, Joint Base Lewis McChord. Chief Master Sergeant Christopher Clark, Command Chief, 627th Air Base Group. Colonel Brian Collins, Deputy Commander, 62nd Airlift Wing. Colonel Aaron Sasson, Commander, 62nd Maintenance Group. Finally, we would like to welcome all squadron commanders, chiefs, senior enlisted leaders, first sergeants, along with family members and special friends of Lieutenant Colonel Mock and Major Rodriguez. On behalf of the 627th Force Support Squadron, thank you all for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the presiding officer for today's ceremony, the Commander, 627th Air Base Group, Colonel Patrick O'Sullivan.
All right, good morning. Thanks for the flexibility. Had to do a quick shift and move things around a little bit, but I really appreciate everybody's flexibility and really appreciate everybody coming out. But good morning. We'll start off with that, right? Chaplain Dahl, that's the first invocation I think I've heard you give, and it was great. I really appreciate it. Color Guard came through as always. And then a huge thank you to everyone that put this ceremony together, right, and their flexibility throughout this whole process. Definitely appreciated. Sky, Colonel Lamb, CSM Chief, Colonel Collins, Colonel Sasson, Colonel Orth, thanks you guys for all coming. It's taking time out of your day to say thanks and farewell to Colonel Mock and hello to Major Rodriguez and her family. Really appreciate everyone coming. Thank you for joining us, like I said, as we pass the guide on of the 627th Force Support Squadron. Also, the family, thank you guys for being here as well. Jason and Ashley, Natalie, coming from out of town, appreciate it. And then the nieces, Sydney and Mackenzie, right? You guys are excited to be here, I can tell. Seems like every time I say Mackenzie, she gets all excited, right? Thank you guys for coming. It's an honor to have you with us as we say farewell to Colonel Mock. Jose, Emmanuel, and Amaya, thank you guys for coming too. Welcome to the neighborhood. Hopefully, I know you guys are waiting on your furniture. You're doing a little camping. Lots of kids in the neighborhood, though. Hopefully, you're getting a chance to get out and meet some of them and get settled. And then eventually your stuff will get here, right? So you'll really be able to get settled. And then also, I know we got multiple Facebook live streams going, right? So we got family in a couple different locations and on different devices and websites. But I know we got parents from all across the globe and family members. So really want to say thank you guys for dialing in as well, and welcome, because it truly takes a strong and supportive family to be successful in the military. And we're truly blessed that you have this opportunity, and technology allows us to have you guys join us here today. So it's truly an honor to stand before you today, especially to stand in front of the men and women of the 627th Force Support Squadron. A squadron that sets a standard for others to follow. And actually, before I continue, Captain, you want to go ahead and put your folks at ease? It was in the script, and I just skipped right over. So Colonel Mock and I showed up at here at JBLM 2 summers ago. That summer, 4 of my 5 squadrons swapped out, just like what's happening right now. Number 3 today, and 1 more to go. One of the first things I did was sit down with squadron commanders and laid out a couple things. First, you're not here by accident. You earn the right to be a commander. Second was I expect them to maintain the highest standards for themselves and their airmen. Third, I was not a micromanager, but I could be, but they didn't want that, and neither did I. And finally, that I was going to have fun whether they did or not, so they may as well get on board and enjoy the ride. A simple philosophy, but Karen took it to heart. The standards that Colonel Mock set for her squadron and held them to is excellence. Excellence in taking care of each other, protecting the assets assigned, and excellence in executing the mission of the 627th Force Support Squadron. When an Air Force unit is inspected, the Inspector General will look at multiple areas, but will group those inspected items into 4 categories: executing the mission, leading people, managing resources, and improving the unit. Karen has excelled in each of these major graded areas. So we'll start off with executing the mission. Karen and her leadership team have crushed this area, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention her leadership team that helped her along this way. And most of these folks have already went on, and Major Rodriguez, you get a new team to bring in and help continue the great performance of the FSS. But Colonel Mock's leadership team of Major Nugent, Captain Hargrove, Chief Sly, Senior Morgan, and First Sergeants Thomas and Willis have helped you along the way. Because every commander will tell you it takes a team of dedicated officers and enlisted professionals to execute any mission. Karen led this team to great heights, and the accomplishments prove it. So we'll start with the FSS support for the PNAF mission, the Prime Nuclear Airlift Mission. Karen and her team oversaw the PRAP, Personal Reliability Assurance Program, securing the success of the Air Force's #1 priority no-fail mission. Karen's efforts were recently validated in Team Accord's Nuclear Surety Inspection, which was the best performance on an NSI in Team Accord history. Her team also led the way in getting Team Accord airmen out the door in support of the combatant commander. They led the effort for personnel support of contingency operations and orchestrated the processing of 28 Air Mobility Command and Special Tactics deployments, sending over 1,500 airmen downrange to 29 global locations. These are just a couple of the efforts that Lieutenant Colonel Mock has led over the last 2 years. There are many others, substantial missions the FSS executes every day, and you'll hear a few more of those when we get to the decoration. Lieutenant Colonel Mock's leadership has been key to the success of those projects and the success of the Airbase Group. Leading people. Lieutenant Colonel Mock is a quiet and humble leader. She will pass praise and credit for success to her troops and leadership team while taking any kind of blame on herself. As I talk to members of the FSS and Karen's peers, one of the themes that come up over and over is how deeply she cares for her airmen, and you can see that every day. It was inspiring to see how much her unit looks up to her and respects her. This type of leadership was key to the unit's success while working through the COVID-19 mitigation measures. For those that don't know, the FSS commander is triple-hatted. So while carrying out the day-to-day duties of the squadron commander, she is also the deputy director for the Director of Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, and the Directorate of Personnel and Family Readiness. When COVID hit, these 2 directors were the most agile and had to react the quickest. Finding that balance between maintaining various support activities like gyms, DFACs, ID cards, retirement separations, and then on the other hand, safe COVID mitigation efforts. Required coordination between 2 senior commanders on JBLM, the Public Health, Air Mobility Command, and MCOM. These efforts directly attributed to JBLM having one of the lowest infection rates in the Department of Defense. Moving on to managing resources, being on a joint base can be challenging at times. Trying to determine who pays for what, is that equipment or real property, and which pot of money will be used for a given project can be confusing. Throw in Army versus Air Force logistics and regulations in the way of doing business, and you have a very challenging leadership laboratory. Those that have been around JBLM know what I'm talking about, but Colonel Mock, again, has led her team brilliantly. And finally, under improving the unit, the FSS is a service organization like all of the Air Base Group units. And Colonel Mock not only improved her unit, but the Air Base Group, Team Accord, and the entire joint base. For everyone who has walked through our customer service area, you'll see the improvements that are underway. Karen and her team were able to secure $330,000 to provide a better working area for airmen and DIPFR employees. She also secured the squadron's first ever community program and unit cohesion lead coordinator, as well as $103,000 in Unite program funding to improve the morale and resiliency of 62 active duty and reserve units. Quick caveat on the mall, though, if you walk through right now, there was a little snafu with the walls falling and stuff, but again, the team came together brilliantly and took care of that and got us all back on track, and the contractors are, they're getting there. But at the end of the day, it's going to be awesome. One thing I changed recently with my staff was my staff meetings. So every other staff meeting, we would rotate amongst the squadrons, and the ideas there was those squadrons could see what the other squadrons do. In the ABG, all the squadrons are so very different and unique in their mission that it was that opportunity. And then after the staff meeting, we would go and those squadron commanders would highlight one of the efforts that they would do. And Karen always took advantage of that, taking us down, and we got the chance to see the operation of her airmen that came up with a method to improve ID card photos, right? The innovation going on down there, whether it's improving in processing by creating automation in order to make that process go faster and quicker, is just a couple of them. But you could always tell how proud Karen was of her folks and her troops, and never missed the opportunity to brag on them or to take anybody down there and show them the great things that they were doing. Karen, you've been a great commander. As you leave Washington and head east, I know you continue to do great things. You guys are doing a road trip and going to do some sightseeing along the way. I want you to leave with a sense of pride and great accomplishment. You'll be able to look back at your time as commander of the 627th Force Support Squadron with great pride and satisfaction. Major Rodriguez is coming to us from the Army Command and General Staff College, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. So she has been living Army the past 2 years, or past year, sorry. We didn't take 2 years to graduate. She comes highly qualified and has a proven record of leadership, but more importantly, she has a proven record of taking care of airmen. Brianna, welcome to the best job in the world, Squadron Command. Here in a few minutes, as you take the flag, I want you to ponder the 4 points I laid out for my commanders, as I mentioned earlier. You are not here by accident. You earned the right to be a commander. I expect you to maintain the highest standards for yourself and your airmen. I'm not a micromanager, but I can be, but neither one of us want that. And finally, that I'm going to continue to have fun whether you do or not, at least for the next 2 weeks. So you may as well get on board and have fun as well. You are the right commander at the right time to continue to lead the airmen of the 627th Force Support Squadron. You'll have your challenges, but you'll also get to see your airmen execute the mission at the highest level. Lieutenant Colonel Mock has set a solid foundation for you to continue to grow and improve the unit, and I have every faith and confidence that you will do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel O'Sullivan. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Karen Mock. Attention to orders. The Meritorious Service Medal, 4th Oak Leaf Cluster, is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Karen A. Mock for meritorious service, 30 June 2019 to 9 July 2021. Lieutenant Colonel Karen A. Mock distinguished herself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 627th Force Support Squadron, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. During this period, Colonel Mock oversaw the prompt reporting, dignified and humane casualty notification, and compassionate assistance to 23 families, resulting in the payment of $3.1 million in benefits. She secured the Squadron's first ever community program and unit cohesion lead coordinator position, as well as $103,000 in Unite program funding to improve morale and resiliency in 62 active duty reserve and tenant units. Additionally, Colonel Mock led the Personnel Reliability Assurance Program for the Department of Defense's only nuclear airlift wing, enabling 1,373 flying hours and 32 nuclear airlift missions in 2019, the most ever in a single year. Furthermore, she adeptly led personnel support for contingency operations and orchestrated the processing of 28 Air Mobility Command and Special Tactics deployments, enabling the power projection of 1,505 airmen to 29 global locations. Finally, Colonel Mock oversaw honors over 170,000 travel miles across Washington and Oregon. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Mock reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of the Army Commendation Medal from Colonel Sky Duncan. Attention to orders. The Army Commendation Medal is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Karen A. Mock for meritorious service, July 2019 to July 2021. Meritorious achievement while serving as the commander, 627th Force Support Squadron, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, from July 2019 to July 2021. Lieutenant Colonel Mock's dedication to duty and selfless service was key in delivering installation support to 940,000 personnel. Her response to the COVID-19 pandemic was critical to the reopening of the McChord Child Development Center, Fitness Center, and Annex operations. Lieutenant Colonel Mock's superior performance and dedication reflects great credit upon her, the Installation Management Command, and the United States military, this 7th day of July 2021.
I'm gonna ad lib here for 1 second. I just want to say thank you to Karen, sincerely from the entire Joint Base. So you all heard Sully mention some of it, and some of it during her intro. She's got 3 hats she wears. She's the only squadron commander that's also works with 2 of the directors on the Joint Base, Director of Personnel and Family Readiness, and Director of Family Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And the ability that you allowed us to flex and move throughout this past year and a half is pretty amazing. That's on top of keeping the customer service home, keeping the gym running, keeping the Olympic feed factor running, taking care of your squadron, which is in itself is a command, is part of the wonderful part of command. But you've sustained the entire Joint Base is what you do. So thank you very much. I would stand for it. This is great. And we take it a little bit for granted, the fact that we stand at attention to give an award to the awardee. Well, I was thinking about that as I was standing at attention for the award that the group gave first, and I was thinking, it just hit me for a moment. We stand at attention to recognize the awardees specifically. We all stand there, and we give a moment to give back to you for the 2 years that you've worked with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now hear from our outgoing commander, Lieutenant Colonel Mock.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I want to start off by thanking the folks who worked really hard putting this all together. Lieutenant Heiser, thank you for leading the charge. I know it was a lot of work, and there was a lot of moving parts, and I appreciate all the work you've put into it. Thank you. Airman Garcia, Chaplain Dahl, Airman Simran, Captain Dunn, the protocol team, and everyone behind the scenes, because I know I'm missing a few, who had a hand in pulling this event together. Thank you. Colonel Collins, thank you for being here. You don't know how much it means to me. Colonel Duncan, Colonel Lamb, Chief Clark, Command Sergeant Major Petty, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you carving the time out of your busy schedule. All my family and friends watching virtually, thank you for tuning in. Mrs. O'Sullivan, thank you for being here. Venetia, didn't see Mr. Hampson, and I know Elsa is not here, but Venetia Michelle is here. Thank you both for being here. I want to say thanks to your entire team, DFMWR, DIPFR, and the 404th for being great partners. You've taken my phone calls many times and well after the duty hours just to talk through the issues that may be complicated but never impossible to solve. Thank you for that. To my fellow squadron commanders, thank you for your friendship, your support, and for having what I lack, which is a great sense of humor. Colonel O'Sullivan, sir, thank you for your trust and tremendous confidence, and thanks for giving me the freedom to command. Working for you these last 2 years have been a true learning experience for me. I'm grateful for your non-micromanagement leadership style and for giving me the space to make mistakes and for learning from those mistakes. Nat, Sid, Kenzie, thanks for traveling all the way here to share this memorable day with me. It's going to be an awesome girls' trip back to the East Coast. To my favorite people in the whole world, Brandon, Jason, and Ashley, you're phenomenal human beings, and I love you so much. Many times you've had to leave friends behind, and time again you embrace the suck and put the Air Force first. You epitomize selflessness, and I am immensely proud of you. Finally, to the men and women of the 627th Force Support Squadron, words cannot adequately express how proud I am to stand before you today for the last time as your commander. You are resilient, innovative, and adaptive. You performed exceptionally every single day and under some unprecedented circumstances. You handled a global pandemic and still managed to get the mission done, supporting over 100,000 military civilians and family members, while also taking on the added burden of becoming teachers overnight. You deployed when you were called on, and those left behind answered the call at home. You distributed 183 Air Force Aid Society grants, totaling $46,000 to help families faced with virtual and homeschooling challenges during the pandemic. You brought the softball fields back to life after 7 years of neglect, giving soldiers and airmen a place to play on McCord Field. When aircraft from Travis Air Force Base evacuated here due to the California fires, you maintained accountability, and with the help of our joint base partners and our 446 teammates, they were lodged and fed. You helped Team McCord execute the largest readiness exercise by processing the largest number of personnel through the deployment line with overwhelming success. You cared for the surviving family members of 23 of our fallen airmen and ensured the payment of over $3.1 million in dependents and survivor benefits. You did all of this with utmost respect and compassion. To my flight commanders, superintendents, and first sergeants, thank you. I could not have done this without you. I'm proud of the job you have done to lead the squadron. You gave our airmen space to address social issues unapologetically. You allowed space for innovative ideas. The ring light was a fantastic idea. It improved ID card photos, and now we can look fabulous. But also, it enhanced base security. Time and time again, I've witnessed you adapt and overcome. No matter the situation, you successfully accomplished the mission, and you took care of our airmen, and that's all I could have asked. Thank you for your support. Thank you for buying into the idea of making it better than you found it. Looking towards the future, Major Brianna Rodriguez is the right leader at the right place and at the right time. She will take this team to new levels of sustained excellence. Bree, I've enjoyed getting to know you. The men and women of this squadron will continue to excel and will thrive under your leadership. If I could leave you with one word of advice, I would borrow one from Colin Powell's leadership lessons. Have fun in your command. Don't always run at breakneck pace. Take leave when you've earned it, and spend time with your family. I wish you all the best as you lead the Spartans to higher levels of achievement and sustained excellence. Thank you all again for coming, and God bless you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Mock. Ma'am, if you will remain center stage, the squadron has one final gift for you. Captain Dunn and Lieutenant Heiser, would you please come to the front?
Ma'am, we framed up your shadow box, and we've got some items from every single section that you've led, and you've led us very well. We even have some glass from the snafu of the wall. So you'll never forget us. It says, efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. President John F. Kennedy. Ma'am, thank you for always being our beacon of light and reminding us what it means to be a Spartan. We really appreciate your command.
Lieutenant Colonel Mock, the airmen of the 627th Force Support Squadron, would like to render you a final salute as our commander. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command ceremony. Attention to orders. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force and under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-509, Major Brianna Rodriguez is appointed commander of the 627th Force Support Squadron, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. Special Order Number 2021-10, effective 9 July 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now hear from our incoming commander, Major Brianna Rodriguez.
Good morning, everybody. Colonel Duncan, Colonel Lamb, Command Sergeant Major Petty, Colonel and Mrs. O'Sullivan, Chief Clark, Colonel Collins, Colonel Sasson, Colonel Orth, Colonel Cheatham, fellow squadron commanders, chiefs, shirts, families and friends watching virtually, and all members of Team JBLM. Thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend today's ceremony. Who would have thought my story would continue where it started? You see, I was born in Seattle, although I grew up in Maryland, and today I'm back, and I stand before you with the honor of commanding a squadron in the world's greatest Air Force. It's a responsibility that I do not take lightly, and I have many people that helped get me here that I need to thank for that. Colonel O'Sullivan, sir, thank you for this amazing opportunity to command. I am humbled and extremely grateful for your trust and confidence in my abilities to lead the men and women of the 627th Force Support Squadron. Although our time together will be very short, know that I will give this squadron my all as we strive to be the best FSS in the Air Force by sustaining and improving JBLM. Lieutenant Colonel Mock, thank you for everything that you have done to prepare me through this transition, even allowing me to store my vehicle in your place. Thank you for posturing the squadron for success, and congratulations on an outstanding command tour. I wish you the best as you head to DC. Colonel Cheatham, sir, means a lot that you're here today. Thank you so much. You've been a steadfast mentor throughout my career, and your presence means a lot. Thank you. To the countless airmen, NCOs, senior NCOs, chiefs, CGOs, peers, civilians, contractors, soldiers, sailors, joint partners, previous commanders, supervisors, and mentors, thank you. I would not be here today without you. I give you my word that I will take care of each airman in my charge. To my husband, Jose, and my children, Manny and Amaya, I love you more than words can express. You've always been my biggest fans, and for that, I'm forever grateful. I cannot wait to embark on this journey together. I love you guys. Dad, virtual dad somewhere, thank you for always being there and for your support over the years. Although you can't be here in person today, I'm very thankful that I can share this with you virtually. I know Mom is with us here in spirit, and she will always be. I love you. Papi, gracias por atender desde la República Dominicana. Te amo. To my sister, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and countless other family and friends watching virtually, your support means so much, and I do not take it for granted one bit. Thank you, and I love you all. These events do not happen on their own. I'd like to take a moment to recognize those who put the ceremony together. Special thanks to the lead POCs, Lieutenant Heiser and Captain Dunn, Chaplain Dahl for that powerful invocation. Thank you. I will use your words over the next 2 years and seek you out if needed. Our shirt, MCs, ushers, proffers, protocol, the honor guard, the formation, CE for the venue, and to EMC for the virtual support. Thank you all. I really appreciate it. To Captain Barrett, Sergeant Butler, and our finance teammates, if you're here, thank you so much for getting me in process and doing everything to get my transition going so I can hit the ground running. I appreciate you. Finally, to the men and women of the 627th Force Support Squadron, Spartans, wow, you guys look really amazing today. I'm not surprised. I've heard nothing but great things. I look forward to meeting everyone and serving alongside of you to make JBLM better for their airmen and their families. Thank you all for attending today's ceremony.
Thank you, Major Rodriguez. Ma'am, if you will remain center stage, the airmen of the 627th Force Support Squadron would like to render you your first salute as our commander.
Squadron, present, arms. Order, arms.
Thank you, Major Rodriguez. We welcome you and your family to the 627th Force Support Squadron. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us in singing the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. This concludes the Force Support Squadron Change of Command ceremony. Thank you for attending today's event. You are all invited to a reception and receiving line located in the back corner of this room to welcome our new commander, Major Brianna Rodriguez.